Good morning, Maya Payalak. Here's the plan. Flooring, painting, maybe granite. That's going to be the three big things today. Unless there's some other secret they're holding back from me. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I was about to say we had a visitor. We've got another landscaping company have come to see us. We've got another visitor now. Big boss Alan. He's just driven in. So we'll have a chat with him. Well, I'll have a chat with him, and myself will have a chat with him before we get started on looking around the house. We'll start here today. Papa Jess is doing something that we've requested, which is to remove this ceiling fan. Not my choice. Son Aldrian and Jack had a discussion about this and have decided that it's just too low, because if they're doing some kind of an exercise in this central area of the gym, it's a bit too close for comfort. They start doing jumping jacks or anything ridiculously energetic. So we're going to take this out, and what we're going to do is put back the rather modern looking black light fixture that we tried a couple of weeks ago in a couple of different places. We think it's still here somewhere, so that will go in here. And the next thing we've asked them to do is on this wall. The boys want a very large mirror extending pretty much from one side to the other. So what we'll have to do, because of that beam, is extend some probably gypsum board or something like that, Hardiflex maybe, to go from one end to the other, so that it's got a stable, flat back on which to mount that mirror. Just outside the gym, Owen with an H, back to work on the ceiling here. More of the skim coat or equivalent that they've been using on the woodwork here, just to smooth off that surface where the recesses are. In the dirty kitchen, there is no sign yet of the crew that is doing the granite. They are a subcontractor that is hired by the builder, and they do work their own hours. And if yesterday was anything to go by, they're fairly short hours, but let's be fair, they did get a lot done in the time that they were in yesterday. So hopefully it's a bit more than half a day today. Here at the front entrance, Frederick has already got the tiling in up at the top. So I think his next focus will be these cross beams, both the part below the window and the part above the door. All right, a change of plan from a day or so ago. Flooring is not going into Alex's room just yet. It's going into Jack's room, which will probably make him happy, because he's actually leaving tomorrow evening. So maybe before he goes, he'll get to see his floor in this room. On the master balcony, we have legs, and they are the new legs for the three new crew members that we've got. They are all painters. I got confused again yesterday. So we now have Warren, Resty, and just to confuse me, another JR, who is at least the third JR that we've had on this build. But they're all going to be at the moment focused on the outside of the house. There was a question, I think it was Tom Vines, but I'll have to check that, who asked why was the final coat of paint left until after the flooring was in. So I've spoken to the engineer this morning, and the reason is that they feel that it would be too easy to damage a wall in particular when they're putting flooring in, and that would require some fairly significant and more tricky repairs, whereas if they paint after the flooring has gone in, even though there's a risk of course, some paint falling down onto the flooring, that's a pretty easy cleanup. Hopefully no cleanup if they've covered the flooring adequately. So painting comes last. In fact, the last people on the build, the engineer says, will be painters as they do all of that final coat after everything else has been done. In the dining room, painter Ernie was in here earlier on. He's wandered off for a moment. I should think he's getting fed up of this room. He's been working in here for a number of days now. And painter Willie was working on these recesses again this morning. He's gone for a wander. And the platforms are down, so maybe he's done. And if he is, I'm sure he is even more relieved about that, because he's been doing these fiddly little recesses now for a long time. Conversations with the builder continue. The two bosses discussing, I'm not sure what. I suspect this could be about putting a shower into this area, but it also may be a little bit about putting some paving slabs down in some of this area. We don't want a lot, but I think around the outside edge of the pool we need some paving slabs. We need paving slabs to go between the bridge and the inside of the house where I'm almost standing. And the other thing that I think we're going to be asking for is some kind of platform, very low platform over there, on which we would put things like a barbecue and maybe some other bits and pieces for a true outside kitchen, as opposed to the sort of dirty kitchen that isn't a dirty kitchen that's in the house. So I think that's part of the conversation. I'm not sure what else. It's just after lunch and the Granite crew are back. They actually arrived around 9 o'clock this morning. So a couple of guys working, take my word for it, a couple of guys working here in the dirty kitchen. So on this end piece, they're just attaching little bits of wire, and I believe they'll hang weights from those bits of wire, which is just here, just to hold this surface in place. And it looks like quite a bit more should get done in this dirty kitchen today. Ernie is back in residence in the dining room. Still painting in here. Here's a room we haven't looked in for a long time. This is the home theatre room. And we haven't had a look in here for a long time because nothing's happened in here for a long time. And there's still no immediate sign of anything happening now. I still haven't seen a plan yet from the builder about what we're going to do in here. You'll know when I do. This is Sabrina's bedroom. And the reason we're in here is windows. The windows crew came in this morning also about 9 o'clock and have started adding some of the missing windows. So this means Sabrina's room now has all of its doors and windows, and is ready, when the regular crew are ready, to receive its floor. Singing Rico has taken over from Singing Marvin in trying to teach me bad Kapampangan. So now he's determined to tell me it's Uktu Mayak. But working here on more of the engineered wood, this is going to go in Jack's room. Speaking of which, we used to say, when they were building the perimeter wall, we used to say they were zipping along on walls. Well, now they're zipping along on floors. So we've got, maybe a third of the flooring is down in here now. The unglamorous stuff goes on all the time, and this is one of those things. Oliver, in Alex's room, is just grinding down the floor a little bit, getting it a little bit smoother in preparation for its flooring. Here at the front, Frederick has been working with Lito, and they have got tiles now on the area just below the window. So now I imagine it's the area just above the door that will come next. On the outside, we're back to our new fellas. One here and two over there. So still working on external wall preparation and painting. The fitting of this granite does seem to have a lot of steps in the process. So we saw last night the granite was cut to shape, although at the moment still no cutout for the sink. So this morning I've just been watching them. They have applied the adhesive material, then they push the granite back into place, check everything for appearance, levelness, and they've just picked it up again. They do use this mechanism of creating an uneven surface in the adhesive mixture. I guess it just allows it to spread out a little easier. I'll have to wait and see what's the next step, because I'm sure they're not going to try and cut this granite in situ. So I would imagine when they're happy with levelness and everything else in here, they'll take it away again and cut out where the sink will go. This is an easier sink in some ways because it's an overmount sink, and we'll see what that looks like. I'm not sure if that will be today, but in the next 2 or 3 days, I would think. And the glass guys are back, or at least a small part of the crew. We've got, I think it's 4 of them here today. They've just come back from a later lunch, and we'll see. I imagine they're going to be working on this little window inside the powder room, off the side of the sunroom. There's definitely at least one window still not done on the north side of the house, and a couple more, I think, dotted around. But we're getting pretty close to having all the windows, with the exception of 2 really big ones. One over the top of the front door, and one it's an internal window by the stairs, so it goes between the stairwell or the staircase and the corridor in the master bedroom, between the bedroom and the walk-in closet. I don't think those pieces of glass are here yet. Apparently it's been a little bit of a challenge to get the glass big enough, particularly for the one over the door. It is almost 4:30. We're going to do this very slightly early today because we're heading out tonight. Before we go inside, a contribution from Peter Ellis, who's actually a good friend of mine, who has put in the following. He saw a friend who said he was off to see a faith healer. A few days later, Peter saw him again. He said, "How was it?" The fella said, "It was rubbish. Even the fella in the wheelchair got up and walked out." And with that, we'll see what's still happening inside. Before we go properly inside, I'll show you the last remaining bits that the glass company have to do, with the exception of the banisters over the stairs. So there's this sliding door. Well, there's no sliding door here at the moment, that's the point. This has not yet been fitted, but I think it's not far away from being ready. On the north side of the house, this little tiny one in the powder room that is next to the sunroom. No frame, no window yet. Up above the gas station canopy, that big gap now does have a frame. So this one may be going in before they finish today. In fact, they are manhandling the glass up there. We're going to have a look. Fair bit of discussion going on here at the moment. We'll come back in just a minute or two. In Jack's bedroom, they didn't finish. Still got about between 1/3 and 1/4 of that flooring left to go. This is one of the few windows in the house that doesn't open. So This particular one, if you can make it out from back here, has no frame on the outside edge. It doesn't need to slide anywhere or move anywhere. It is, as with all the other exterior windows, it is this reflective glass, one-way reflective. It's a big old piece of glass. This is looking at it from downstairs. It's almost in, but not quite. We'll come back again in just a minute. In the dirty kitchen, all the granite is now in. There is still no cutout for the sink that goes here. Maybe, because it's an overmount sink, I don't know, we'll find out tomorrow, but maybe they cut it in situ. When it's an overmount, it doesn't have to be quite as precise because the edges of the sink actually go over the top of the edges of the granite. So maybe that's the plan, is they're going to cut it while it's in place. And here it is, looking from the master balcony. So it's in, and they're just adding the seal, the rubber seal, all the way around the outside. Very nearly finished, but we have to go. So, we'll see this in all of its glory tomorrow morning. One more look from the inside, just because I saw them starting to do this, and I thought, you've got to have a fair amount of confidence to take a big old rubber mallet and start hammering around a glass window, particularly around one this size. If you make a mistake with this, it's a fair old chunk of money down the tubes. Oh, he's really going for it. Missed this. They've done the inside glass, the window. It doesn't actually need to be a window really, but they've done the window between the stairs down here and the corridor between the master bedroom and the walk-in closet. So that really is down to the last two small windows that we saw. Was it two? Yeah, I think two. And all our glass will be in, with the exception again of that door on the gymnasium. Well, it does look like these fellas are going to keep going. So by tomorrow morning, who knows how much more they may have finished. So that's the day. Well, these guys, for the first time in a very long time, are having a little drink. It is apparently Papa Jess's birthday. So, just giving them a little contribution to add to their little stock of things to consume. We'll leave them to it. As I say, we're heading out, but what a good day that was again today. Let's just take a dizzy pill and have a look at this. The painting on the outside has continued. There's a lot more of what looks more like finished paint now. We've got that glass in over the gas station canopy. So really, yeah, there's a load more painting and a load more finishing. Would be nice when we had a door. Would be nice when we had all the doors, but that might still be a little bit further off. But what a BuilDelicious day. See you tomorrow.